We need to talk about 12-year-old Gavin Peterson. And we need to do this because we spoke on the Ruby Frankie case. And we need to talk about this because three of his family members have been arrested and accused of causing his death. He was an emaciated 12-year-old boy and he was put through what seems to be horrendous child abuse. So Shane Peterson and Nicole Scott were booked into the Webber County Jail for child abuse homicide. There were 2 counts of aggravated child abuse and child endangerment, and additionally, Scott was arrested for obstruction of justice and rug possession. Tyler Peterson was also arrested, and he was arrested and charged with child abuse, homicide, and 2 counts of aggravated abuse and obstruction of justice. On the 9th of July at around 2:40 p.m, police attended the home of Gavin, and they attended because there was reports of a young boy aged 12 who had been ill for several days, had been vomiting, and was now not breathing. So, as well as the Frankie children that suffered at the hands of their mum and obviously Jodie Hildebrand, this does remind me of Shanda Vander Ark because this was a similar situation in which her child had gone through abuse, starvation, and the police were called to the home because he was unresponsive. And it turned out that his mum had been neglecting him, abusing him, and not feeding him. And this rings the same as that case. When the deputies arrived, they assisted with CPR until the medical emergency services arrived, and then they took over, and then he was transported to the hospital by ambulance, but sadly he passed away. When the emergency services arrived, they found Gavin on the bathroom floor. They said the floor was wet and Gavin's skin was cold to the touch. Now, they say Nicole and Shane had reported that he'd been ill for several days. He had been experiencing vomiting and seizures, but he wasn't taken to a doctor. On the day of the incident, Nicole found the child in his bedroom covered in vomit, so assisted him into the shower. The doctor's report showed that poor Gavin had suffered with malnutrition to the point his internal organs had shut down completely, and this child's body was visibly emaciated. So there were text messages between Tyler and Shane Peterson, and this was because Tyler messaged his dad to say that Gavin was not breathing and what should he do. Now, there was video surveillance in the home. I mean, I don't know how people think they're not going to get caught. Thank God that they are that way inclined that they don't think about their home surveillance video, because obviously this goes a long way in the case, right? But they had surveillance video from the home, and it shows Tyler making the trips to the backyard shed at the same time the 911 call was made. Now, during the trips, Tyler appeared to be carrying items to the shed. And when they uncovered that, there were surveillance cameras that were found in the shed. Now, on Nicole's phone, police said that they found deleted screenshots taken from the surveillance camera. I'm just going to give you a warning now. This is awful. So if this is something that is too upsetting for you, please do swipe out. So he was wearing a heavily saturated diaper. He was curled up on a carpetless floor in the bedroom with it lacked bedding and blankets. Screenshots also showed that there were sores on Gavin's back. The room appeared to have multiple cameras, as the infrared light from other devices were visible in the screenshots. The photo also showed that the door handle with a locking mechanism was positioned on the outside of the room. A search of all the phones of the three people arrested revealed text messages in which they discussed whether the child victim had been given any food, whether he was allowed to use the bathroom, and include discussions of hitting and beating Gavin. They even discussed using a piñata stick to do so. They talk about how the door to Gavin's bedroom is locked and how he has to knock on the door to leave. When they have spoken on feeding this little boy, they said that they'd given Gavin 1/3 of a cup of water, only giving him a piece of bread and mustard, or not feeding him at all. All of this messaging and evidence revealed a prolonged pattern of abuse over the course of several years. This is just a horrendous case. And I just want to say that at the end of that information, it has been said that Gavin was such a happy child. He had a smile for everyone. His favourite colour was blue, and he loved science and Pokemon. I hope that this young man gets the justice he deserves. I have no words for these monsters. Is it when I was reading that, when I heard this case, and I've just reading that information and looking into it, it's awful, and no child, no one should ever have to go through that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. Justice for Gavin.